My name is Joe. I'm sitting in my new rental house in Smyrna, with my dog, Max, a 4-year-old golden retriever, lying at my feet. It's a Friday night in late September, the end of the regular season. We've just won the district championship against our longtime rival, Oakwood High. The gym was packed, and the energy was electric. As I stand on the 50-yard line, the victory feeling washes over me. I pull out my phone and text my older brother, Leo. We won. His reply comes back quickly, I know. I've been tracking the score. Proud of you, brother. This moment of pure joy and relief makes me reflect on how far I've come. It all started when I received a selfie from my ex-wife, Lily. It was a Thursday afternoon at 2:47. She was on a beach, sunglasses on, a cocktail in her hand, the ocean behind her, and a big smile on her face. The caption said, "Wish you were here, babe." But I stared at that photo not because I missed her or wished I was there. I was sitting in our old kitchen in Clarksville, Tennessee, with a cold cup of coffee, looking at a stack of utility bills she said she'd paid, a credit card statement with unfamiliar charges, and a voicemail from an unknown number that she'd accidentally left open on her phone the night before her so-called work trip. I'm a high school football coach at Clarksville High. I'm not rich, and I don't have a fancy car or wear expensive clothes. I wake up at 5:30 every morning, drink black coffee, and go to work. I come home, cook dinner most nights, and help with whatever needs to be done. For 9 years, I thought this simple life was enough, and I thought I was enough. But I was wrong. Let me take you back to the beginning. I met Lily at a mutual friend's barbecue in the summer of 2016. She was 26 years old, working as a marketing executive for a big advertising firm in Nashville. She had this magnetic energy, always shining brighter than everyone else in the room. I was 30 at that time, newly promoted to varsity head coach. I was sunburned and wearing an old college football jersey. I spilled barbecue sauce on my shoe within the first 10 minutes of arriving. She laughed at me, a genuine laugh, and I was smitten from that moment. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. It was a simple proposal. We were on a Sunday morning walk by the Cedar Lake. The trail was almost empty, and I'd had the ring in my jacket pocket for a week. I stopped on a wooden bridge over the water and asked her. She said yes without hesitation. That moment is still vivid in my mind. We got married in August 2018 in the backyard of my parents' house. Lily's parents are wealthy and sophisticated. Her father is a successful businessman, and her mother is a socialite. My parents are simple folks. My father is a retired mechanic, and my mother is a schoolteacher. They've always been hard-working and down to earth. My dad shook my hand and told me I'd made a good choice, and Lily's mother shed a few tears. We honeymooned in the mountains of North Carolina. The first few years of our marriage were truly wonderful. We had Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, and she'd make playlists for our long drives with no particular destination. We both loved bad horror movies. Friday nights were filled with popcorn and movies with low ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. She'd hide her face in a pillow and then peek out and laugh at herself. But around the 5th or 6th year of our marriage, things started to change. Lily got a promotion to senior brand manager at her firm. It was a great opportunity, but it came with longer hours, more travel, and a different social circle. She started coming home late and needed weekends to relax either alone or with work friends I'd never met. I tried to be understanding. I picked up the slack at home, managed the bills, and kept the house running. I told myself it was just a phase. However, the distance between us grew. She stopped asking about my players. In the early years, she'd know their names, ask how practice went, and come to games when she could. But then she stopped coming to games, stopped asking, and even started rolling her eyes when I talked about the team. One night, after a playoff game we'd won, the first time we'd made it to the state semifinals in 8 years, I came home late. Before I even had a chance to take off my jacket, she started talking about something important she'd been waiting to discuss. I felt a strange emptiness, like I'd won a battle but no one was there to celebrate with me. I should have had a real conversation with her that night, but instead, I made a sandwich and went to bed. That's a decision I regret deeply. As time went on, Lily started going out more. She took girls' trips, went to happy hours, and visited her college roommate, Ava, in Atlanta. I was too tired to question her. I was coaching 80 teenagers every day, and I didn't have the energy for arguments at home. Looking back, my exhaustion gave her the freedom to do as she pleased. Last winter, things got worse. Her phone was always face down, and the charger was moved from the kitchen counter to the bedroom nightstand. She told me less and less about her weekend trips. I'm going to see Ava again, or a few of us are going to a spa. I'm not the type to snoop, but I started to notice changes in her behavior. When certain notifications came through, her energy would change. She'd lose focus during our conversations and it didn't even seem to bother her. One day, while looking for a receipt for a home repair reimbursement, I found 6 months' worth of credit card statements. There were hotel charges in cities she'd never mentioned visiting, restaurant bills in Nashville on nights she said she was home, and spa charges that didn't match any trips I knew about. I sat with those statements for 4 days before I told anyone. I called Leo from the school parking lot one Tuesday evening. Leo is a no-nonsense contractor. He's straightforward and doesn't sugarcoat things. I told him what I'd found and what I suspected. He was quiet for a moment and then asked, "Joe, what do you want to do?" I thought about it and said, "I think I want to leave." As I said it out loud, I felt a weight lift off my chest. Leo said, "Then leave. But do it right. Don't make a scene. Just go and let her figure out what she comes home to." 4 days before her beach trip, on a Wednesday night, I heard a voicemail on her phone. She'd gone to bed early, and her phone was on the coffee table with the screen up, which was unusual. I was just walking by to get water, but I heard a man's voice. He sounded confident, like he was used to getting what he wanted. He was talking about the trip, how glad he was they'd finally have some real time together, and a restaurant reservation he'd made. Then he said he was glad she'd told her husband it was a work trip. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I stood in the hallway for what felt like an eternity. I decided not to wake her up or confront her that night. I didn't want to give her a chance to make excuses or manipulate me. I went back to the kitchen, made a cold cup of coffee, and started making a plan. Lily left for the beach on a Saturday morning. She told me it was a work retreat for a few people from her firm on the Gulf Coast. She'd be back on Thursday. She kissed me on the cheek before she left. Her luggage was nicer than I remembered, her nails were freshly done, and she smelled like the perfume she only wore on special occasions. I walked her to the car, helped with her bag, and told her to have a good time. After she left, I went inside, made a fresh cup of coffee, and called 2 people. The first was Leo. "She just left," I said. "Okay. Are you ready?" he asked. "Yeah, let's do this," I replied. The second call was to a moving company. I'd already contacted them the previous Thursday to check their availability, and they had a crew free on Tuesday. I booked them. Then I called my friend, Tom, who has a spare bedroom in his house in a nearby town, about 20 minutes outside of Clarksville. Tom coaches the defensive line at another high school, and we've known each other for 12 years. He'd told me the room was mine whenever I needed it. The timeline's moving up. Tuesday, I told him. "I'll have the room cleared," he said. Sunday and Monday passed as if nothing was wrong. Lily texted me regularly, asking about bills, if I'd watered her plants, and telling me that dinner at the resort was just okay. I replied briefly but not coldly. I didn't want to let her know what I was up to. Then she sent that selfie. After I replied, I put my phone in my pocket and went to finish packing. I took my clothes, all my coaching gear, the tools I'd bought over the years, my grandfather's fishing rods that had been in the closet for 9 years and that Lily had never touched, my record player and my 80 album collection that I'd gathered since college, the framed photo of my dad and me at a football game from 2010 that had been on my nightstand since before I met Lily, both our vehicles, the truck I drove and the sedan that was in my name but Lily usually drove, and Max. I left everything else. The furniture, most of which she'd chosen, her clothes, jewelry, and personal items were all untouched. I watered the plants as she'd asked and left the refrigerator stocked with food. I even left a set of her car keys on the kitchen counter. And I didn't leave a note. I didn't want her to have anything to pick apart or use as a starting point for a conversation. I was at Tom's house when Lily came home on Thursday evening. Leo drove by the neighborhood to check on the house and texted me, "She's home." I put my phone face down on Tom's kitchen table and watched a football game, not really paying attention. I thought about what it must be like for her to walk into that quiet house, to realize that something was terribly wrong. She called me 11 times that night. I answered on the 12th. "Joe," her voice was raw, all the pretense gone. "Where are you? Where is your stuff?" "I moved out," I said. There was a long silence on her end. "You moved out," she repeated, as if she couldn't believe it. "Yes, while you were on your so-called work trip." "I know where you were, Lily." Another long silence. When she spoke again, her voice was lower. "What does that mean?" "It means I know who you were with and it wasn't a work trip." I heard her breathing change. She tried to regroup. "Joe, I think we need to." "No," I said quietly but firmly. "There's no conversation that can fix this. I've known for a while, and I've made my decision. It's over." Her voice cracked. 9 years and you just make a decision and it's over? It didn't happen overnight. I just stopped pretending things were okay. She called my name in that tone that used to soften me. "I'll call you tomorrow." "Get some sleep," I said and hung up. The next few weeks were tough. Lily tried everything. First, she was angry, asking how I could do this without talking to her. Then she was grief-stricken, crying and talking about our history and how she'd made a mistake. Finally, she tried to negotiate, suggesting counseling or taking some time apart. Part of me still wanted to go back to the way things were, to the girl who said yes on that bridge. But I'd learned that I couldn't unhear that voicemail or see those credit card statements. I'd also realized that I'd been shrinking myself in our marriage for years, trying to keep the peace. The legal process took about 4 months. We had a mediator, and since we had no children and a shared mortgage on the Clarksville house, Tennessee's equitable distribution laws applied. We sold the house and split the equity. I found a smaller rental house in Smyrna. It has an old-fashioned charm, a nice yard, and a screened-in porch that Max immediately claimed as his own. On the other side of this decision, my life has changed for the better. I started sleeping deeply again, without the constant background tension. I've started cooking real meals, not just for sustenance but for the joy of it. I've been putting more time into my team. There's a senior linebacker, Jake, who's on the verge of getting a scholarship offer from a local university. I've been helping him with tape study and making phone calls to the coaching staff. And on Saturday mornings, I take Max fishing with my grandfather's rods at a nearby pond. I heard through mutual friends that Lily has moved to Nashville, to a trendy neighborhood with coffee shops and a vibrant social scene. I also heard that the relationship she had during our marriage has ended. I don't feel satisfaction, just a sense of quiet understanding. I don't wish her ill, but I know that the life I'm building now, with Max by my side and a job I love, is a better one. This victory tonight, this moment on the 50-yard line, is a symbol of my new beginning. If you're in a situation where you know something is wrong but are afraid to make a change, I want you to know that you don't have to wait for undeniable proof. You don't have to keep shrinking yourself to fit into a life that no longer suits you. Sometimes, the quiet decision to leave is the bravest thing you can do.